Welcome back. In this video, we will talk about EIGRP Named Mode. In a previous video, we talked about EIGRP Classic Mode. We will just go straight to the command line. These routers have no configuration except for the interface IP addressing. To show IP interface brief, we get our addressing, and all these routers will have the same addressing. Basically, it's 10.1, and then this third octet will represent the connection. 12 represents the connection between router R1 and R2, and .1 obviously represents R1, R2 will be 2, 3 will be 3, and so forth. This connection, G01, is this connection between R1 and R3. That's why it's .13. And that's all the configuration there is here, and we'll get going. First, I'd like to configure EIGRP Classic Mode. We'll do it as fast as possible to get going. That's all we need. Let's go to R2. Router EIGRP. Can't type today. Network 0.0.0. That should establish our adjacencies. So if I just show EIGRP neighbor, there we go. Now let's do 3 a little bit different. We said we would do name mode. This is how we do name mode. Let's look at the IP addresses. Show IP interface 3. Said 13.3 represents this connection between router 1 and router 3. 34 is the connection between router 3 and router 4. And now we'll do EIGRP name mode. So after router EIGRP, you can either select the autonomous system or a word for this. Let's call this router EIGRP Tuff. That's the name. But now, can we put the network command under there? Nope, we cannot. Why? Here it is. So under name mode, it adds a few layers, because now with EIGRP name mode, you can install, or you have to install, the configuration underneath your router EIGRP named configuration. It's not like before where some of the commands went on the interfaces. And we'll see that here. One interesting thing about this is the first command. It's so long. It's almost funny that we have to type all this in to get it going. So address family, IPv4, autonomous system, and now this autonomous system has to match. So if we want adjacency between router 1 and router 3, it has to be the same one. Now here, we can't add this. But let me back up a little bit. You have to exit, and now you're back in router EIGRP named configuration mode. Before we were in the address family or AF mode. But here's just a shortcut for you. You could just type add, and you see it fills it in. It's just a way for you to get quicker and start filling in. This one you have to type completely, IPv4. As you can see, the only options are autonomous system, multicast, unicast, VRF. So that means if you put an A, that's all you need to do. Question mark. So instead of that huge long command, just type add IPv4 A space 1, and you're done. Network 0.0.0. Will we get adjacency? Yes, we did. I show IP EIGRP neighbor. There you go. We have adjacency. Queue count is 0, which is perfect. Show IP routes, and there are our routes. We see we got one EIGRP route, which is 10.1.12, which represents this connection here, which is learned via EIGRP because of the D. Learned the last video, here it is. Okay, so let's configure router 4. 4, we'll do it again. Let me show you show IP interface brief to show IP interface. that do command. If you're in configuration mode, it's important. You have to put that do command and then your config. So once again, 10.1.24.4 represents this IP address, the connection between 2 and 4. So that's why it's 24 and 34. Okay, so we're in configuration mode. Let's go EIGRP name mode. We'll put the name Tuff. And what is it that we have to do? Address family, IPv4A for autonomous system, and they have to match. Remember that. Network 0.0. Actually, let's do this. Let's just put the network, specific network for that interface there. 10.1.34.0. 0.0.0.0. And as you can see, we did not get a adjacency. Why not? If you know, post it in the comments. Let's do a show run section router EIGRP. What do we have here? There's network 10.1.34. Can you think of why this is? Let's go fix it. And here's the issue with the name mode. I really like it. It's very practical when you're looking at the whole config. But in order for me to put this command or fix this command, I have to put this one and this one. So we have to do a lot of typing. And basically, you learn to be an expert at copying and paste. So router EIGRP, add IPv4. Unicast, and remember we didn't put that word in before, right? Because we unicast A1. Now we could fix this, but we have to remove this one. We have to do no network 10.1.34.0 0.0.0.0, and now we add. Remember the wildcard mask has to represent the network. So it's a 24-bit network, 10.1.34.0, and now we have adjacency. That's what we were looking for. But let's take this off once again. Let's do a no network 255, and we'll just do the full network 0.0.0. So that means every single interface will participate. And now we have adjacency both with router 2 and router 3, which is what we're looking for. We do a show IP route, and we see the 2 routes that we have learned from router 1. So when we do a show run, and we could just do section EIGRP, we see the entire command. We go back to 2. 2 is still running. Show run section router EIGRP. We're still running here the old-fashioned EIGRP. The classic, I shouldn't say old-fashioned. Which is nice because it just means that EIGRP name mode has backward compatibility. You don't have to go crazy planning your configuration. Any new router, you could just start using the new name mode and it will all work. But let's say you now want to start using name mode on your old routers. Pretend R3 and R4 are brand new routers, brand new sites that you put in, so you did it the new way. When we do a show run section, EIGRP, is there a way for us to migrate from name mode to, from classic mode to name mode? Yes, there is. We have to go into the router EIGRP autonomous system configuration, and you will see one that allows you to do it. When you look at this list, you really can't tell, but it's this one. you have to start off with EIGRP. Start off with EIGRP, and now it says upgrade the classic mode config to name mode. Okay. And we have to give it the name that we were using. So EIGRP upgrade CLI, and the name mode that we want is Tuff. And it's going to ask us, do you want this? And when we hit yes, it will bring down your connection, your adjacency, but it is real quick. But if you did this in production, there's a little bleep in there. Here we go. And it converted. So if we do a show run section EIGRP, there we go. Our adjacencies came back up. Took a second. And let's get a cleaner picture of this. Show run section EIGRP. The system is intelligent enough to convert it where now we have the same configuration as all the other devices. Isn't that cool? And I believe router 2 is still running old-fashioned mode. Let's see. Section EIGRP. Yep. And you can tell when you're running classic mode because you have the autonomous system right there. It's your first command. Router EIGRP 1 and then the network state. So we go into configuration mode. What is the command again? Router EIGRP 1. And then we go into EIGRP mode and upgrade CLI. But if we hit enter, it's an incomplete command. Why? Because you have to tell it what named mode or what name do I want for this EIGRP. We hit, and then we go yes. And remember, the adjacencies will go down. They'll come right back up. This takes a second. If we do show run, our adjacencies came back up. And we have our entire configuration. If we go in here into router 1, we can show some more commands for name mode. And I find that I always have to run this. Show, run, pipe, section, EIGRP, or SRE, whichever one you prefer. I always have to run this because I always need to go in here. Now, obviously, if you're running IPv6, then you will put address family IPv6. Okay, so now that's a quick way. Just copy and paste the config, and you don't have to keep typing it in. And what commands do I have under here? So there are specific commands. What is this AF interface? So remember I mentioned that in EIGRP name mode, the configs all now go under your router EIGRP configuration. So if I want to configure one of the interfaces, like I want to configure interface G00 going to R2, I have to type in AF-interface G00. And then my commands go in here. And here's a command that we spoke about in our previous video, split horizon. If I wanted to enable split horizon, I would have to just apply it here. It seems like it's a lot of commands. You're at different levels. If you look at it, config, router, AF, and then interface. And just take a look at this. If I start exiting out of here, I'm still in router AF configuration mode. Exit out of here, I'm still in config router mode. So this is my router EIGRP name, and exit and exit. So it could be a little bit tedious, but you have to learn a little bit of the shortcuts that you have seen in other videos that I've done. But in another video, we'll discuss a little bit more about EIGRP, either name mode or classic mode. We'll learn how to do summarize addressing, filter addresses, and so many other different things. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.